Well, coming up in today's edition of The Play, why the Oklahoma City School Board could sever ties with a local charter school. Plus, Oklahoma City is moving up the ranks of big metropolitan areas. But first, state and federal officials have released a damage assessment from Oklahoma tornadoes on May 19th and 20th. Joining me now with more on this story and the other headlines you'll see in Wednesday's Oklahoman is Nick Trugakos, assistant local editor. Now, what are officials saying about last week's storms?
Well, they did some aerial surveillance, and the number that they've come up with now in the 5-county area, which would be Cleveland, Lincoln, McLean, Oklahoma, and Pottawatomie counties, nearly 4,000 structures are impacted, they say. That includes about 1,250 completely destroyed. So we're getting a better idea as we move here a little more than a week past the storms of just a total impact. It really was, in some ways, as bad as all the pictures that we've seen. I mean, with houses being leveled and stuff like that. And seeing these numbers kind of brings it home a little bit. We'll be following up on that in Wednesday's paper and on News OK. And we'll still have a wide assortment of angles. We're talking to some more victims and storm survivors. We're continuing our Profiles of Life series, which kind of takes a closer look at some of those who were lost in the storms. And we're really just going to be trying to stick with this story as long as we can, really.
Yeah. Do we know the amount of homes damaged in the May 3rd, 1999 compared to this one?
You got me off guard with that one.
Okay.
I know, the May 3rd stayed on the ground for a lot longer. I couldn't give you the exact number, but I'm fairly certain that in total homes, we're not quite at that level with May 3rd. But, interestingly enough, bringing that up, we spoke to a doctor who worked the May 3rd tornado and also worked the tornadoes last week. And he said he's actually seeing some injuries that are more severe than May 3rd. So it's interesting, the storms all act differently, the weather people will say, and you never know what kind of, outcome you're going to get.
Man, my goodness, yeah. Sorry to throw you for a loop.
That's all right.
All right. The Oklahoma City School Board is expected to end relations with Marcus Garvey Leadership Academy during a special meeting Tuesday night. Now, why is the school board considered severing ties with their charter school?
Well, this would be a fairly rare move. We're trying to do some research to find out if this is actually the first time that the city would revoke the charter or the school board, would revoke the charter of one of these schools. Essentially, it's not doing very well. Their reading and math scores are at the bottom of the charts. Academic performance has really been subpar. Add to that the fact that they've had some financial mismanagement there, and it's got the school board taking a very close look, and we expect that at tonight's school board meeting that they will revoke that charter.
Yeah, that's too bad, because a lot of times you hear charter schools are such great schools, so that'll be interesting to see what happens there. Well, Oklahoma City is growing and moving up the list of top metropolitan areas. The Census Bureau released their figures last week. Now, where do we stand in comparison to other cities?
Well, these are numbers that the census compiled dating back to last summer, and it takes them a while to crunch the figures and stuff like that and compile them. And what we found out now is that Oklahoma City is now considered the 29th largest metropolitan city in the country.
Oh, wow.
So long, Milwaukee. You're number 30 on the list. Oklahoma City has leapfrogged you. So I think a lot of people, think of Oklahoma City as a small market.
Yeah.
When we talk about the Thunder and the NBA, it's a small market town. But really, when you think about being the 29th biggest city in the country, that's nothing to laugh at right there. So we'll dig into the statistics a little bit and look at some other cities and how we stack up with maybe some cities that you might not think were as big.
Yeah. Now, did you say, is this based on population or area?
It's the population figures from the Census Bureau.
Wow, that's true, of course. Wow, how cool. That's great. Well, good for little Oklahoma City. We're not so little.
And bad for Milwaukee, right?
Yeah, I know. Well, you can see all of these stories in the Oklahoman, in Wednesday's Oklahoman, and also, like Nick said, on newsok.com. So make sure you check that out. And thanks for joining us for The Play, where you can get tomorrow's headlines today. Thanks.